You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. So LSU beats Auburn, which I'm doing backflips. You go on the road, you beat Auburn, you dig out of a 17-point hole on the road in that game, and you lose your starting quarterback in the fourth quarter. I'm ecstatic. I think this season is largely about LSU getting better, and if you manage to win some games along the way, that's awesome. And that's happened now through two conference games where LSU's dug itself a hole and managed to get out and emerge victorious. So the Tigers are 4-1. They're 2-0 in the league. But they threw for 85 yards at Auburn on Saturday. Brian Kelly was pretty clear when he met with the media Monday. Yeah, that's got to change.
This is not going to work. We can't throw for 85 yards with the talent that we have and expect to beat the top 10 teams in the country.
One more time for all the people in the back who didn't hear.
This is not going to work. We can't throw for 85 yards with the talent that we have and expect to beat the top 10 teams in the country.
Y'all, Brian Kelly knows they have a problem. Okay? They have identified very clearly that they need to be better at throwing the football. You have a coach who is, with a little bit of bubble gum and duct tape together, putting this thing together this year, trying to build culture and confidence and buy-in, and along the way win some games. So you see at times kid gloves, but you also see a coach who's like, yeah, this ain't it. It's got to get better. And he's right. It does have to get better. What you saw on Saturday offensively, throwing the football, was brutal. That was a throwback to a time where none of us want to go back to. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you won the game, but you know it's not sustainable, and you're going to run up against dudes and teams that are just better, and when you do, it ain't going to go well, and Brian Kelly was at least opening up to saying it. I've been reading the show text line all day, and a lot of you are asking questions. Joshua Livings said, Matt, can you address actually the drops at wide receiver? It's totally uncalled for. Joshua Livings is absolutely right on the first possession of the ball game. You had 3rd and 10. Mason Taylor dropped the ball. In the second half, when Garrett Nussmeier went in the second half, you had a 2nd and 12. Kayshon Boutte had a drop. That was Nussmeier's second play that he was in the ball game. Just before the muffed punt in the fourth quarter, you had a 1st and 10. Brian Thomas dropped the ball that was right, usually sure-handed. Malik Neighbors had a drop on a ball that was behind him. It's a tough catch, but when you have a quarterback that's struggling, and these quarterbacks are struggling, it could be a little more accurate. Yes, but it's close. You get your hands on it, you got to catch it. These receivers are the best part of your offense, right? We all agree on that. Deepest, most talented part. You have to elevate your quarterback. That's the truth with these receivers. And right now, they're not really doing it. Look, against New Mexico, when Brian Thomas catches a screen and runs it for 57 yards or whatever it is, that's elevating your quarterback. Dropping the ball on the road at Auburn, not. And especially when you have to have it. There was a question from Chase L via text. He said, Matt, is Kayshon Boutte even bought in like the rest of the team? Talking about Brian Kelly had to convince him to buy in over the months, etc. Well, I'm glad you asked, because I asked Brian Kelly that question point blank, and I went and looked at today. Kayshon Boutte right now on the season has fewer than 100 receiving yards in 5 games and no touchdowns. There's not a soul alive that would have been convinced that through 5 games, Kayshon Boutte would have fewer than 100 total yards and would not have found the end zone, but that's where they are. So I asked Brian Kelly point blank, how do you get him more involved in this offense?
Part of this is building trust with a new quarterback. Obviously we're trying to get him the football. He's getting a lot of double coverage. We're still winning. He's happy that we're winning. All those guys that make decisions about who the best receivers are in the country are still going to look at Kayshon and go, that's a really, really good wide receiver. Numbers are numbers. At the end of the day, he's going to continue to play this game at the next level, and the numbers won't dictate where he gets drafted. It's his ability to continue to play the game at the highest of levels. And when you turn on the film and he's running full speed and he's beating guys and the ball didn't come to him for some whatever reason, that's out of his control. So what Kayshon continues to do better each and every week is he controls what he can control. And he does that in practice now, and he does that in games. Would he like the ball more? Absolutely. Would I like to get it to him more? Absolutely. But he's handled himself in the right way, and he continues to work for the team.
He said a lot there. And everything he said there, you can dissect and understand. He continues to work for the team. He's happy we're winning. All that stuff answers the question, is Kayshon bought in? The answer is yes. Kayshon Boutte is bought in. And I'll tell you all this candidly, as many of the players or coaches or support staff members you try to talk to, you pull aside, what's going on there? Everyone, I've not had one person yet tell me the dude's a problem in the locker room. I've not had one. That is, I'll tell you what that is. It is a fan narrative that has been creative because of what Brian Kelly said the first press conference when he was introduced. When he said, I know his name right now, and talked about how he had to get bought in, had to get all that. But remember what happened. Kayshon did. He got bought in. They gave him the number 7. Like, he's been there. But every time he doesn't put up numbers, or his son was born and he wasn't there for New Mexico, it unearths that narrative again. Or in the game on Saturday, you show ESPN shows one camera shot of Jayden Daniels talking to Kayshon Boutte, and you assume that it's all negative. Who knows what they were talking about? I don't. But it just rebirths the narrative. But the head coach is telling you he's bought in. Like, he's doing all the right things. You watch film, he's running full speed. But then that's where the other part of that answer comes in. It says he's running full speed. He can't help it. Well, I want him to get the ball more. He wants the ball more. Of course he wants it more. But it's not going to control his draft stock, which is true. Jamar Chase opted out. Was a top 5 pick. Didn't even play that last year. Because when you go run and they put on the film, they see, you're like, yeah, okay, you're good. Well, and it's going to happen for Kayshon as well. But you pop on the tape, he's running full speed, the ball's not coming to him. What did he say? You got to develop trust with your quarterback. So that's the other big part of this. And that's the other thing that a lot of you talk about, which is, why isn't Jayden Daniels throwing the ball downfield? And that's the next big unlock. It's the last big unlock for this offense. They seem to have settled on their starting line. You know, Jayden Daniels is the starting quarterback. They're getting better in the run game. Mason Taylor is your tight end, and they're using him in the passing game. And Jayden Daniels is throwing the ball in short and intermediate routes, and he is running the ball as well. What you have not unlocked yet is his trust and willingness to throw the ball downfield. And Brian Kelly was as direct today as he has been all year about that.
There's a difference between being on the edge aggressively and being reckless. We're way too conservative right now. I don't want to throw interceptions. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to turn the ball over. We haven't thrown any. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in one respect. But if you're looking to be aggressive, you're going to throw an interception or two because somebody made a great play, because you trust that you're going to throw it in there. And we got to get Jayden to be a little bit more on that edge and be a little bit more aggressive. And we will. We'll get there with him because that's the nature of this position. This position has to be, with the skilled players that we have, we've got to get that ball down the field, and we got to get it into some tight windows sometimes. They're not always going to be wide open, but those guys can make plays, and we got to get them the ball.
You have to be on the edge of reckless and aggressive. You got to be aggressive. Can't be reckless. Garrett Nussmeier is reckless. Okay? Jayden Daniels is a 180 of that. Right now, he's very conservative. He's protecting the football. And that is helping you win games. But play the first cut we played again, Muse, number 25. Brian Kelly cannot say this any clearer.
This is not going to work. We can't throw for 85 yards with the talent that we have and expect to beat the top 10 teams in the country.
You throw for 85 yards against Tennessee this weekend, you get run out of your own stadium. You go to Gainesville and throw for 85 yards, you're going to lose. You play Bama and throw for 85 yards, you're going to lose. Ole Miss, you throw for 85 yards against Ole Miss, you're going to lose. They know they've got to open up the passing game. And a lot of that is Jayden Daniels being comfortable with being more aggressive in the passing game. So how do you toe that line? You don't want him throwing into triple coverage. You don't want him throwing the ball as he's falling down. But sometimes you got to trust Kayshon Boutte to put the ball up there and go make a play. You got to let him go make a play. You got dudes. And that's the next unlock. And if/when they get, guys, remember, they're 5 games in. 5 games together. When they get to that point, at some point this year, it's going to go. And it's going to look really good when it does. I think back to 2012, Mettenberger's first year starting. The first month was a disaster. Burrow's 2018. Burrow did not throw a touchdown pass in the month of October in 2018. By the time both of them, by the time they got to November, Mettenberger in 2012, Burrow in 2018, when they got to November, the switch flipped and just boom, boom, boom. That pass offense started clicking. They carried it into the next year. Unfortunate thing for Jayden is he's only going to be here for 1 year. But they can do it sooner than later, hopefully. Hopefully it starts this weekend with Tennessee coming in. They need to. But listen, the same way that you know it's a problem, the same way that you and I watching with our own 2 eyes know they've got to start stretching the field in the pass game, the coaches know it too. And we all know where they have to address it. It's getting your quarterback to be comfortable in being more aggressive. Start taking those steps. This weekend will be a great time to do it. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.